Welcome to the next episode of the Body Active Show, everyone. I'm so happy to have Caroline Keatinge of Caroline Keatinge Nutrition here with me today. And I think this topic is so important for so many women going through menopause. So I'm so excited to talk to her. So please tell me what you got going on, what you do, who you serve, all the goods. Let us know what you got going on.
Okay. We could be here for a couple of hours, so I'll try and keep it short.
Okay.
So just a little bit of background. So nutrition is kind of my third or maybe my fourth career, depending how you look at it. So I started out in financial services and mostly working for American companies. Started out with Citibank and did an MBA and then switched over to consumer finance. So another big American company, GE, worked for GE Capital, which I think is now called GE Consumer or something like that. And then quite late in life, having never thought I wanted children, that little old biological clock, in fact, it was a bomb inside of me that exploded. And I was like, yes, I want children. So I had two children quite late in life and had quite a long time as a stay-at-home mum. And then I wanted to do something that I was really passionate about. And frankly, credit cards, I know they're useful, they serve a purpose, but it doesn't get you out of bed in the morning. And I'd always really been interested in food and the power of food and what we could do with food. And so I did a postgraduate degree in nutrition. Worked for a couple of years with an amazing woman who's a really, really good friend. But she works with younger mums of younger children, some of which are younger mums, some of which are not. So I wanted to work in an area of my passion and that I was kind of my tribe. And so I started working with women going through perimenopausal symptoms. So that's who I serve. I serve women who are kind of 40 plus, who might be experiencing any of a whole number. You know, there's more than 40 perimenopausal symptoms. Perimenopausal really just means the years before menopause. And given that menopause is actually, you only know that you've reached menopause a year after your last period.
Right.
So perimenopause is really people experiencing some of these symptoms. So we use food and lifestyle to really help them.
Yeah, there's no cookie cutter approach to it because everyone's experience just with pregnancy. I mean, it's so individual to the person and their lifestyle, what they've done their whole lives, and their environment, the stress, sleep, all that is like affected with menopause and perimenopause. So I have a lot of women in that range that I train as well. And there's even like a pain management component that goes with it. And I often see foods flare different symptoms. So I'm always like, journal your food. What are you eating? What is going on with, how do you feel after you eat dairy? How do you feel after you eat soy? Like there's different foods that trigger. So I'm really interested to see like what you found with working with the women you've been working with. Some tips and different things that your approach to getting started with them. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I do is I really try and parallel track. As you know, stress has just such a derailing influence on our hormones. And that's as true in perimenopause as it is in pre-pregnancy, pregnancy, and all through your fertile years. And so I definitely work on stress and all the stress drivers and really trying to understand what are the triggers, what are the influences, how can we really manage stress, and really sharing some of the power of some simple things like breathing and how it can actually change you from a sympathetic to a parasympathetic nervous state. And, you know, to me, that's just phenomenal, and the power of that. And I use that pretty much every day. And then what I do is we go through a whole nutrition program as well. And one of the things that we start off looking at is really blood sugar and blood sugar regulation. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One is, you know, your blood sugar peaks and troughs, again, they really drive cortisol. And when you're in a very high insulin, when you've got very high blood sugar and high insulin, it's gonna raise your cortisol levels. That's gonna derail, excuse me. I did put a glass of water somewhere, but it's disappeared. It's gonna derail your whole hormone cycles. And so
right.
We work on it from that perspective, but we also work on it because two other reasons really. One is insulin is one of the real drivers of some of the, or disruptors of some of the estrogenic pathways. And so we want to really manage insulin from that perspective. And lastly, one of the symptoms that a lot of women who I work with have is unwanted weight gain. And there's a number of reasons why our body shape changes, and it's easier for us to put on weight in menopause, but also lots of women deal with cravings, and particularly carbohydrate cravings. And that again just gets back to your whole blood sugar cycle. So one of the first things I do is we work on blood sugar, and we start with breakfast, because if your whole insulin cycle gets off to a bad start with a very high carb, high processed breakfast, you're kind of on a path that it's almost impossible to get off. And that's not a question, that's not me saying you just need more willpower, because cravings are not about willpower. Cravings are about your body responding to its need to survive and to keep its blood sugar level within certain range.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, definitely starting the morning right. And that's most of the women, they're working out and they're like, I'm putting all this effort and the scale doesn't move. And then they get mad at their husband that, you know, they stopped cut out soda for a week and they've lost 10 pounds. And it's like, we just had very different systems and we're fighting a different battle when it comes to the hormone shifts. And it's like, if you start, I mean, everything is like, with the weight loss I do, it starts with sugar. We cut out sugar, even starting, if you want to get really into it, like cut out the fruit if you have to, like at all sorts of levels until you balance all that out. So you start with breakfast. And the breathing, I love that. I love the breathing because it's a way to like really, like you said, shift to a different system and calm your body down. Because I mean, and then you have the stress, like you're stressed out because you're gaining weight, and there's like this vicious cycle.
It all builds on each other. But something as simple, if you're experiencing things like hot flushes, now, you know, there's a whole host of things you can do about hot flushes, but one of the first things you can do is just breathe, because stress is going to hinder your hot flushes. So it's just, you know, a simple thing to do, whether it's a night sweat in the middle of the night or it's, you know, kind of in the daytime, is just taking that time to reset yourself.
Yeah. And being okay with, like, this is what's happening. It's okay. I'm just going through something, and it's like not a panic mode, you know, because I know, I mean, I'm not in menopause or perimenopause, but I know when I'm just hot, I get really anxious. Like, I just do not like feeling that way. So I can imagine that from internally, your body's doing this to you. I can imagine the anxiety that comes with that and the stress. So what do you do after breakfast? Like, what's the next step you do? Because I see your recipes that you're posting, and I'm like, oh my God, I got to try these. They're so good.
So I think the next big area from a nutrition perspective that people struggle with is lunch. Because for a lot of people, dinner actually looks okay, and we might tweak it a little bit, but lunch is quite often, it's a difficult meal for many people. One, it's often done on the run. You know, people might have it at their desk. They might have it eating, you know, standing up. They might have it in the car, driving here and there. And also it's, again, the typical approach is a sandwich. It's a very kind of carbohydrate centric meal that is going to, again, set your insulin cycle and your blood sugar off on the wrong level. So and the other thing I work with women, particularly if they're trying to manage weight gain, is trying to stabilize the meals over the course of the day. So lots of people might skip breakfast or have a tiny breakfast and then feel like, oh my God, I really shouldn't have lots of lunch because, you know, I'm trying to lose weight. And so they have a little lunch. and then they're starving in the evening, and so they might have a snack at 4 or 5 in the afternoon, and then quite often they're cooking dinner and they're kind of snacking all the way through, and they're eating a big dinner. So it's really important to get a really nutrient dense lunch and to make it big enough, because you want to, if you're feeling really hungry before another meal, you need to look up the chain to say, where did this go wrong? Now, bizarrely, a snack, a real hunger pang mid-afternoon could be because your breakfast was all wrong. But so we fix breakfast, and then we work on lunch, and then we look at the balance and how you're feeling over the course of the day.
I think it's so important.
So that's where my recipe is going.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh my God. No, that's okay. So I think it's just when we're talking about stress and food. If you're not getting that breakfast set, and then at lunchtime you're stressed at work, you're stressed because there's time constraint, you're stressed because you don't know what to eat, you just grab whatever. Now you get that cortisol going. Now you're fighting your body. Your body's fighting against your efforts to do that weight loss. So I think that snowball effect of all those things happening at lunch, people don't understand why that's so important to really. And then you add the carbohydrates and you scarf your food, that you eat more than you probably would have because you're eating so fast. It's all these components. Or they go for that latte that has all the calories and all that stuff. So it's about feeding your body the proper energy sources, which I think will keep you going through the day to stabilize. So important.
Absolutely.
Do you have like a good ideal lunch in mind? You could suggest what would be your ideal go-to lunch.
What I do a lot is I do a lot of salads, but my salad is, we're not talking just a few greens, and my salad is the whole, I don't know what the right word is, but the whole shebang. So we're looking at, and it could be last night's vegetables, because when I cook dinner and I cook vegetables, I try and cook way more than we're going to eat, so that I have vegetables left over, and I can use those as a salad. So I could put a bowl together. It might have some leaves in, it might have some leftover vegetable. I mean, if I look at what I had for lunch today, which was real leftover city. So I had some salad, I had some cabbage. Now you might think, what is cabbage doing in a salad? But actually, it's really nice. I had some lentils, which I had made for lunch a couple of days ago, because you do need to make sure you're eating enough protein. And most people, again, their protein content might be a bit low. So I had lentils. I made a kind of a ratatouille, but without the eggplant yesterday. So I had a kind of, it was courgette and tomato. So I had that, which I put under the grill with some goat's cheese. So I'm kind of making sure I've got lots of color on my plate, as many different plant forms as I can. Protein. So I had, my protein today was lentils and the goat's cheese that was on the ratatouille kind of thing. And it took me minutes. I wasn't cooking anything. I was literally just opening the fridge and grabbing stuff from in there. And it took, I was eating it really quickly to come on this call. The whole making, eating, and I did probably eat faster than I should have today, took 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So,
well, what I hear in the salad too is like you have different textures as well, and I think texture in a salad is very important. So you feel full from like something crunchy, something a little more savory, like different flavors and textures, kind of trick your mind into you being fuller, I think. So
and I'm a big one for putting toppings on. So I often will put nuts and seeds. And I'll use those on salad. When it's really cold, I might have soup, but I find sometimes soup is not filling enough. So I'll normally add some extra protein, and I'll add like some topping to get that texture, to get that crunch, so that you really are feeling satisfied.
Yeah, and you enjoy it. You enjoy the meal. It's not just chewing on carrots or something that you get bored of with all those different flavors and textures. I love that.
I'm a nutritionist because I love food. I'm not someone who has a, I do actually have celery in my fridge at the moment because my veg box came with it, and I do like celery, but it's all about real food, loving your food. I love it when I get clients who are really good cooks, because I know I'm just going to show them how to enjoy make their favorite dishes just a little bit different and love them all the more.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, so you have this program you're starting now. It's in October. You're getting the program
So
started,
the
or you're
program's,
launching.
yeah, I'm just starting launching now. So I'm doing some free webinars on sleep and weight gain next week,
Hmm.
because these are two of the biggest issues that women talk about. And then
Yeah.
I have my 6-week, it's called Thriving Through Menopause program, starting on the 5th, Monday the 5th of October. And so that's a whole
Okay.
program where it's six weeks of jam-packed activity.
Awesome. So it's a live program, like on Facebook, or is it email? Like, how are you setting it up?
So it's a mix. So it's run off a Thinkific platform. So there's a whole a weekly modular videos, PDFs, downloads that you get, that you work through on your own. And then there's a
Hmm.
Facebook group. So we have live daily interaction in the Facebook group. And then I do a weekly live coaching call and Q&A. So everybody gets some one-to-one time with me, talking through, kind of what's going on, how they're finding it. I might do some live teaching in that. So it's quite dynamic, and it's a mix of self-taught and community and FaceTime.
And the focus is mostly the nutrition and like daily habits they do, or what are you going to be covering?
So each week has 2 parallel tracks. So it has a nutrition track where we talk about the food element, what the food can do to you and do for you. And then I have a track which I call Self, which is all about yourself. So we work on stress, we work on things like morning routines, try how to get the day really started right, how to, how to really manage, giving people some tools. It's 6 weeks. I'm not going to solve everybody's menopausal symptoms in 6 weeks. They're going to feel better, but I'm not going to say, I'm going to crack it all in 6 weeks. But what I'm going to do is help you feel better, and then give you a whole host of tools so that you actually are in control. And the last week, what we do is really say, okay, well, what works for me in all of this? What are my priorities? So what's my plan going to be going forward?
That's awesome. You're going to help so many people. Like, I see all your posts and I'm like, people need to get their eyes on this, because I have clients that really do struggle with all these symptoms of menopause. So if they have a strategy, I think it's going to be a game changer for so many women. So where can we reach you? What's your Instagram, your Facebook, what's your website? What do you got?
So
Give us the
my
goods.
Instagram is at Caroline Keating. My website is www.caroline-keating. Now, Caroline Keating is spelled Keatinge. Caroline is Caroline. So it's at Caroline Keating with the e.com. And on Facebook, I think I'm Caroline Keating, or I might be Caroline Keating Nutrition. I did think I thought I'd written these down, but on another page. So I think it's Caroline Keating Nutrition on Facebook. I do have a personal page, which is Caroline Keating, so either will find me. So that's where I'm found.
Awesome. I'm gonna put all that information in the comments for after the video's over. So we're gonna post that nice, so people could reach you very easily. So that's so amazing. I'm so excited to see how this program unfolds, and I have a couple women I'll be sending your way too. They need it. So many people need this. So I'm so happy we had this chat.
Yeah.
Is there anything else? Any other tips you got for us?
I just think the other thing that I do talk about on my program a bit, which I'm sure you you work on all the time, is I think you can't talk about menopause without really looking at osteoporosis risk and bone health. And so I actually do have an element in my program where I work with a Pilates teacher, and she's put a whole mini program of resistance weight training. But I'm sure that it's something that you must work with women on, because it's such a big area to consider, and there is a lot you can do, both in terms of the stuff you can do nutritionally, but the whole lifestyle element and exercise element, and getting resistance training in is just so important. And I think,
Yeah.
you know, we've got to make sure we talk about that too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, weight training is one of the best things you can do to help manage osteoporosis because it's putting a good stress on the bone that makes them stronger. And it's a whole process of how you absorb the calcium and everything that goes on with that. So definitely, yeah, it's not just because some people just think it's like, okay, I got to do my shot, you know, the shot for osteoporosis. And I'm like, there's a whole other slew of things you could be doing. And you got to kind of activate that whole system to get that calcium to go into the bones, and exercise, resistance training, or weight bearing exercise definitely is one of the best ways to get that going. That's so awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me today on Sunday. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And you guys, if you have any questions, reach out to me. I could get you in contact with Caroline, or reach out to her directly. I'm sure she's amazing, so I'm sure she'll be happy to help you out with questions. All right.
Well, thank you so much. I enjoyed it, Joanna. Thank you so much. And you have a good day. You've got more of it ahead of you than I've got of mine.
Yeah, I have a lot going on today. So, but we'll stay in touch. Okay.
Have a good one. Okay. Bye. Thanks.